So for our reinforcement guys, no, ang format natin is Q&A, no? So may question po ako i-flash dito, try to answer and then i-discuss natin. Ayan. So first question, the majority of the iron in adult is found as a constituent of blank. A, hemoglobin, B, hemosiderin, C, myoglobin, or D, transferrin. Okay, very good. This is hemoglobin. Okay, so majority na iron natin is found in hemoglobin. Okay? So you would find this table in Rodax. No, in this table, you're going to see the various iron compartments. Okay? So the iron compartments in humans are the functional compartment, storage compartment, and transport compartment. Si hemoglobin po is part of the functional. Other than hemoglobin, you also have myoglobin and some enzymes. Now, they're all part of the functional compartment. Yung storage compartment naman, this is well represented by ferritin. Remember, si ferritin po yung ating storage protein for iron. Okay, tandaan nyo na guys, no? Sino daw ang storage protein for iron? That is ferritin. Okay? And then the transport compartment no, is represented by transferrin. Remember, si transferrin naman, yung transport protein for iron. Okay? Now, bakit mahalaga yung iron compartments? Bakit mahalaga? Kapag ang patient natin naging iron deficient, no, kulang yung iron niya, ang pinakaunang compartment po na nade-deplete is yung storage. Laging storage ang mauna na made-deplete. This would then be followed by the transport compartment and then ang last na made-deplete is functional. Okay? Ang mnemonics ko dito guys, STF. STF. Yan, storage, transport, functional. Ganyan yung pagkakasunod-sunod. Okay? So ibig sabihin, pag ang pasyente mo, bumaba na ang hemoglobin levels, no, you know that the ferritin, no, yung iron storage yung mababa na rin, and even the iron in transport, no, yung iron na nasa blood, mababa na rin. Clear? Nakuha class? Yung sinasabi nating IDA, iron deficiency anemia, no, depleted na, mababa na yung hemoglobin. Okay, so ibig sabihin, mababa na rin yung storage, mababa na rin yung transport. Okay, remember that as STF. Alright. So percentage total, as you can see, sa hemoglobin po, 68%. 68% yung iron niya. Okay, 68% of the total body iron is in hemoglobin. Alright, next. In order for hemoglobin to combine reversibly with oxygen, the iron must be black. A, complex with haptoglobin, B, freely circulating in the cytoplasm, C, attached to transferrin, or D, in the ferrous state. So iron has to be in the ferrous state. Okay? If you recall, hemoglobin is comprised of heme. Now this is comprised of heme plus globin. Ilang heme guys? Sa bawat hemoglobin molecule, ilang heme ang meron? Okay, very good. Apat. No? And ganun din ang globin. Apat din ang globin sa bawat hemoglobin molecule. So, ano yan guys? 4:4. Yan. 4 heme, 4 globin. And then yung heme, we can further break this down into iron plus protoporphyrin 9. So, heme is comprised of iron plus protoporphyrin 9. Okay? And mind you that iron no, should be in the ferrous state. Okay? Kasi kung hindi siya ferrous, no, let's say ferric siya, it would not be able to bind your oxygen. Okay? Mamaya, no, mapag-uusapan natin no, kung ano yung tawag sa hemoglobin na may ferric iron. Okay? Sa ngayon, no, for now, just remember no, that in your normal hemoglobin, iron should be in the ferrous state. Okay? Clear? Alright, next question. Alright, let's continue. Number 3, which description best fits the Donat-Landsteiner antibody? A, it is an IgM called agglutinin. B, biphasic IgM hemolysin. C, IgG biphasic hemolysin. Or D, IgG warm agglutinin. Now, before we answer this, anong condition po, anong sakit po yung associated sa Donat-Landsteiner? Oops, careful. May nakita na ako sumagot ng PNH. Yung PNH po yung common na ano dito. Common na mali ng students. It's not PNH, no? It is PCH. Okay? So Donat-Landsteiner is an IgG biphasic hemolysin and it is associated with PCH. PCH is your paroxysmal cold hemoglobinuria. So in this condition, the patient has an IgG biphasic Donat-Landsteiner antibody. Okay, IgG po yan ha, tandaan nyo guys. And it is biphasic. Bakit siya tinawag na biphasic? Tinawag siya na biphasic kasi dalawa yung activity niya. No, depende po sa temperature. In cold temperature, no, at less than 20 degrees Celsius, no, this antibody would fix your complement. Okay? So halimbawa, yung patient mo umakyat ng Baguio, no, pumunta siya dito sa Baguio. Ayan. So dahil malamig, ang mangyari lang is fixation ng complement. Now, eventually, pag pumunta siya sa warm temperature, no, bumaba na siya, no, kasi tapos na daw yung long weekend, and magkakaroon ngayon ng lysis. Okay? So tandaan niyo to guys, no, at cold temperature, magkakaroon ng fixation. No, fixation pala ng complement. And pag na-warm na, doon pala magkakaroon ng lysis. So this is what we call paroxysmal cold hemoglobinuria. Okay? Tinawag siya na paroxysmal kasi, ano ibig sabihin ng paroxysmal? Paatake-atake lang siya. No, hindi siya continuous na may hemoglobinuria. Nagkakaroon lang ng hemoglobinuria in certain circumstances. Okay? Like for example, na-expose sa cold yung pasyente. Kaya nga siya paroxysmal cold hemoglobinuria. Clear? Mamaya na natin pag-usapan yung PNH. No, ang PNH po is a completely different disorder. No, iba po siya. Now, before we jump no, to the next question, may ano lang tayo dito, no? What do you call this? Segue lang sa blood banking. Now, please remember that the Donat-Landsteiner antibody has P specificity. Okay? Anti-P po siya. Yan. Your P antigen, which is part of your P blood group. Yun po yung specificity ng Donat-Landsteiner antibody. Okay? Next. Which of the following ions is bound to hemoglobin in methemoglobin? And please type your answer in the chat box. Okay, very good. Na-mention natin kanina na in your normal hemoglobin, it should be ferrous or Fe2+. Sa methemoglobin po, which is an abnormal hemoglobin, iron is in the ferric state. Okay? And na-mention na rin natin kung bakit problem to. Naging problema po ito kasi pag ang iron nyo nasa ferric state, the hemoglobin would not be able to transport oxygen. Naging useless siya. Okay? So huwag kakalimutan guys ha, sa methemoglobin, ang problema po is yung iron, it is in the ferric state. Okay? So let's discuss the abnormal hemoglobin pigments. Okay, first you have your carboxyhemoglobin. Carboxyhemoglobin is hemoglobin plus carbon monoxide. Okay? Anong problema natin? What is our problem with carbon monoxide? The problem with carbon monoxide is that it has affinity 200 times greater, no? Compared to oxygen. 200 times siyang mas makapit sa hemoglobin compared to oxygen. Okay? Now, pag dumikit si carbon monoxide sa hemoglobin, what do you think would happen? Ha? Ano mangyayari, guys? Pag dumikit na yung carbon monoxide sa hemoglobin, hindi na makakadikit yung oxygen. Di ba wala na siyang sasakyan, wala na siyang ibabind. Okay, very good. Ayun, hindi makadikit si O2. Okay. So anong mangyari? Eventually, the patient would suffer from hypoxia. No, yung mga tissue ng pasyente, hindi makakuha ng oxygen. Magkakaroon po ng hypoxia. Okay? Now, please remember that carboxyhemoglobin is light sensitive and it has a typical brilliant cherry red color. Tandaan yung kulay guys, no? Cherry red. Yung cherry red color na yan, makikita nyo rin yan sa mga patients no, suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning. And nadi-discuss po ito sa toxicology sa CC. No, yung mga patients nyo, magkakaroon sila ng cherry red coloration of the face. And that is an indication of carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay? Tobacco smokers have 1 to 10% concentration in blood. Okay? So yung mga long-term, no, yung mga chronic smokers po, we expect na somehow elevated ang kanilang carboxyhemoglobin levels. Okay? Also, please take note that carboxyhemoglobin is reversible. You can convert it back to normal. Okay? So yung carbon monoxide, pwede yung ma-displace. No? Pwede siya matanggal. Pwede siyang kumalas ulit. And pag kumalas siya, yung oxygen, pwede na mag-bind ulit. So reversible po yan. Ang application nito guys, in cases of carbon monoxide poisoning, no, yung pasyente pwede nating ilagay sa hyperbaric chamber. Okay, yung hyperbaric chamber may mataas na oxygen yan. Ang gagawin po noon, i-displace na yung carbon monoxide. Okay? So again, it is reversible. All right. Any questions so far? Next is methemoglobin, also known as hemoglobin. Pag nakita niyo po yung term na hemoglobin, hindi po typo yan. Ha? Hemoglobin is the other name of methemoglobin. In methemoglobin, as mentioned a while ago, the iron is converted to the ferric state. Fe3 plus siya. Abnormal yan. Okay? Methemoglobin could either be acquired or inherited. May tinatawag tayo na hereditary methemoglobinemia. So yung pasyente, pinapanganak na mataas yung methemoglobin levels niya, no, starting from birth. Okay? Most of the time, it would be acquired. It can be acquired through drugs and chemicals. As for the color, methemoglobin is chocolate brown. Okay, tandaan niyo mga kulay guys ha. Methemoglobin is chocolate brown. Normal individuals can have up to 1.5% methemoglobin. And please take note that methemoglobin is reversible. Meaning, pwede mo pa siyang i-convert back to normal. Nakuha? Yung methemoglobin, pwede pa siya maging hemoglobin ulit. Reversible po siya. Na mamaya na lang natin sasabihin no, kung anong pathway ang responsible for that. And then lastly, you have your sulfahemoglobin. Sulfahemoglobin is formed by the action of certain drugs such as sulfonamides and aromatic amides. So basically, hemoglobin po ito no, na nagkaroon ng attachment ng sulfide group. No? Kaya nga sulfahemoglobin. Okay? This can also form carboxysulfahemoglobin. So hindi siya nakontento ng sulfahemoglobin na dikitan pa ng carbon monoxide. O ang tawag mo doon, carboxysulfahemoglobin. Okay? As for the color, sulfahemoglobin is mauve lavender. Okay? This is not normally found in blood. And take note, this is irreversible. Yung dalawang na-encounter natin kanina, si methemoglobin at saka si carboxyhemoglobin, parehong reversible yun. Di ba? Pero si sulfahemoglobin, irreversible siya. Ibig sabihin po, yung sulfahemoglobin, it would remain as is until ma-clear na yung RBC. Okay? Mabilis ang review, guys. Ano ulit ang color ng carboxyhemoglobin? Type out sa chat box. Okay, carboxyhemoglobin is cherry red. How about your methemoglobin? Okay, methemoglobin is chocolate brown. And then sulfahemoglobin is mauve lavender. Okay, this mauve lavender. All right. Let's continue. May natututunan ba tayo so far, guys? Okay, next. An increased amount of cytoplasmic basophilia in a blood cell indicates blank. A, increased cytoplasmic maturation. B, decreased cytoplasmic maturation. C, reduction in the size of the cell. Or D, decreased nuclear maturation. Please type your answer in the chat box. Okay, the answer here is letter B. Okay, decreased cytoplasmic maturation. Ang basophilia po, it is a sign of immature, no, immature cells. Okay? Bakit po basophilic yung mga immature na cells? May idea ba kayo? Explain ko lang guys. Pag ang RBC mo or WBC or yung mga blood cells mo, they're immature, in their cytoplasm, marami pa pong RNA. So characteristic yan ng mga immature cells. Yung mga immature cells nyo, marami pong RNA sa cytoplasm. Anong ibig sabihin ng RNA? Ribonucleic acid. RNA is acidic. Di ba? Now, dahil acidic ang RNA, ano mag-sustain sa kanya? Bigyan ko kayo ng choices. No? Sa right stain, you have your eosine and methylene blue. Sino sa kanila po ang mag-sustain sa RNA? Okay, ang mag-sustain sa RNA is yung basic na stain. And ang basic stain ninyo is your methylene blue. Nakuha nyo, class? Tandaan yung principle dito ha. Kapag ang structure acidic, ang stain mo basic. On the other hand, if your structure is basic, the stain is acidic. Baliktaran. Nagets? Ang nagbibigay ng bluish color is the RNA, which is stained by methylene blue. Now, over time, as the cell matures, yung RNA nyo nawawala. Nade-degrade yan. So habang nade-degrade yung RNA, nawawala din yung pagka-bluish siya, nawawala yung basophilia. Nakuha nyo? Nagets po yun ha. So it's the RNA. So ito yung mga signs, ito yung mga morphologic features associated with maturation. Ito po, paborito ito sa board exam. So make sure you memorize this. Okay? So sa nucleus, nagkakaroon ng loss of nucleoli. Also, there is a decrease in the size of the nucleus. Also, condensation of chromatin. In some of the blood cells, nagkakaroon ng possible changes in the shape. Lalo na yung mga, ano nyo, mga granulocytes nyo, no? Mas naging segmented yung nucleus nila habang mas naging mature. Okay? And then lastly, there is possible loss of nucleus. Anong blood cell lineage po yung may loss of nucleus? Type na sa chat box. Sino nagkakaroon ng loss of nucleus? Okay, syempre yung RBC. 'Di ba? Bago maging ganap yan ng mature RBC, dapat mawala muna, ma-let go niya muna yung nucleus niya. Okay? Now, sa cytoplasm, there is a decrease in basophilia. We have already mentioned that. There's an increase in the proportion of cytoplasm and also the possible appearance of granules. Again, we would see this in the granulocytes. Okay? Now, kung lahat ang nandito sa box na to, babalik ta rin nyo, yun naman yung mga signs of an immature cell. Okay, so how do you describe an immature cell? How do you describe your blasts? Yung mga blast nyo, may nucleoli, di ba? Ang nucleus malaki, yung chromatin hindi pa condense, no? And yung kanilang nucleus wala pang segmentation. Babalik ta rin mo lang, di ba? Yun na yung mga signs ng blast. Sa cytoplasm, paano yung describe? Basophilic, di ba? Tapos, less yung proportion ng cytoplasm. And lastly, wala pa dapat granules. No? You know na immature yung blast na yun. Nagets nyo? Kaya napakahalaga po ng box na to ha. Kindly memorize this. Next, specific or secondary granules of the neutrophilic granulocyte would A, appear first at the myelocyte stage, B, contain esterases, C, are formed in the mitochondria, or D, are derived from azerophilic or primary granules. Ito guys, tinanong to last boards. No, hindi ganito yung exact na pagkakatanong, no, but similar to this. Okay, very good. The answer here is letter A. No, they appear first at the myelocyte stage. Okay? Ang lagi ko tinatandaan dito, yung primary granule. Yung primary granule nyo, nag-a-appear yan ng pro-myelocyte stage. Okay? So yung secondary granule, doon sa susunod na stage. Ano masusunod sa pro-myelocyte? Ang susunod is yung myelocyte stage. Okay? Now, bakit siya tinawag na specific? Bakit tinawag na specific granules yan? May nakakalam po ba? Specific siya saan? Specific for what? Anyone? Specific siya for the type of granulocyte. Okay? So ano ba yung mga granulocytes? So you have your neutrophil, basophil, and eosinophil. Yung mga specific granules, specific sila for their particular granulocyte. Okay? So ang tanong sa boards, at what stage are you able to differentiate the various granulocytes? Ano sagot? Type sa chat box, guys. Try to synthesize what you have just learned. At what stage can you start differentiating the granulocytes? So ma-differentiate mo lang sila kapag may specific or secondary granules na, particularly in the myelocyte stage. 1 point sa board exam. Okay, sana pag kayo na yung nag-boards, matanong po ulit, ha? Okay? And also, just a additional pointer lang, try to go over the contents of each granule. Now, makita niyo yan sa Rodax, guys. May listahan po sa contents ng bawat granule. Ito na pala yun. No? You can take a picture of this. Galing lang din po ito sa Rodax. Yan, ito po yung contents ng granules ng neutrophil. Okay? And then this is for your eosinophil. And then ito yung para sa basophil. Okay? Next. In the normal adult bone marrow, the most common granulocyte is black. Ito ano lang to, talagang recall lang siya, no? Tatandaan mo lang talaga siya. Nasagot natin guys? Okay. Ito po yung may pinakamahabang pangalan sa kanila. This is the metamyelocyte. Okay? What if ang itanong sa inyo, what is the largest cell in the bone marrow? Type na sa chat box. What is the largest cell in the bone marrow? Okay, the largest cell in the bone marrow is your megakaryocyte. Okay? Pero ang most common granulocyte, it is your metamyelocyte. At pakitandaan na lang please. Next, pluripotent hematopoietic stem cells are capable of producing blank. Yung HSC ninyo guys, hematopoietic stem cell. Kung naalala nyo, may diagram yan, di ba? Makita nyo yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng ng various cell lineages nyo. Yung hematopoietic stem cell, yung nasa pinakataas, it would give rise to what? Okay, very good. Now, it would give rise to the lymphoid and the myeloid stem cells. Okay, so ito po yun, yung diagram na sinasabi ko. Yan. So sa pinakataas po, you have here the hematopoietic stem cell. And this could now differentiate into the common myeloid and the common lymphoid progenitor. Sa myeloid, ano yung mga lineages under this? Under your myeloid? Palatanda ko lang dyan guys, GEMM. Okay, so under sa myeloid, you have GEMM, granulocyte, erythrocyte, you also have your monocyte and your macrophage. Hindi pa pala, may isa pa. Megakaryocyte pala, sorry. Hindi siya macrophage, megakaryocyte. Ulitin ko guys, no? Granulocyte, erythrocyte, okay? Yung monocyte nyo, which becomes the macrophage, and then yung last na letter M is your megakaryocyte. Okay? Yun, tandaan nyo lang yung GEMM. Sila po yung mga myeloid. Of course, sa kabila naman, sa lymphoid, you have the lymphocytes. No? Yung B cells, yung T cells, etc. They all fall under the lymphoid progenitor. Now, anong significance nito? Now, why am I emphasizing yung terms ng myeloid at lymphoid? Kasi guys, yan po yung basis ninyo for classifying the leukemias. Naku ba? Pag sinabi mong myeloid na leukemia, this leukemia would involve any of your GEMM. Okay, basta may involvement yung leukemia sa apat na to, that's a lymphoid leukemia, that's a myeloid leukemia. Kung lymphoid leukemia naman, syempre ang involved dyan, yung mga lymphocytes. Okay? Next. Which of the following cytokines is the most responsible for eosinophil differentiation for the bone marrow? Ito, natanong na to before sa board exam. Okay, so huwag nyo kakalimutan yung mga interleukin nyo ha. Hindi lang po sa immunosero tinatanong yan. No? Sa hematology, may mga interleukin din na mahalaga. Okay? So for eosinophil differentiation, please remember your interleukin 5. Okay? How do I remember this? Di ba interleukin 5? Ano ba ang fifth letter sa alphabet? A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, D, E. Ang fifth letter nyo is E. Eosinophil. Okay? So sa eosinophil, ang mahalaga po is interleukin 5. Ayun. So that's how I remember it. Kung may sarili kayo mnemonics, better. Okay? So this is just a list of hematopoietic growth factors. You can take a picture of this one. Galing po ito sa Rodax. Okay, hindi ko na isa-isahin na wala tayong time na maisa-isa pa sila. Nagtatanong ba ng ganito sa boards? Yes po. No, may pa isa-isang questions regarding this growth factors. Okay? Next. Ito picture lang ulit. And this one. Ito third na to. Yan, last na slide yan. Okay? Next. Our rods are characterized as blanks. Ito, paboritong tanong to sa board exam. Dapat pag nakita niyo hour rods, alam niyo na po no, kung ano ang hour rods. Okay? Denatured hemoglobin ba yan? Pag sinabing denatured hemoglobin, anong inclusion ang dinidescribe? Okay, Heinz bodies yun, di ba? Yung ano, DNA precipitate, sino yung comprise of DNA? Howell Jolly, may sumagot ng Holly. Nagkalit, nag-combine. It's the Howell Jolly. Okay? Madaling tandaan yan, di ba DNA, Dina. Dina daw Jolly. Dina Jolly. Okay, so si Howell Jolly po yung DNA. Our rods are actually fused primary granules. Okay? And follow-up question, no, where do you see our rods? Sa condition po nakita ang our rods? Oh, may nakita ko nag-CML. Baka ibang iniisip nyo guys, hindi siya CML. Okay, it's actually your AML. Okay? AML po. AML ang associated with our rods. Okay? So let's discuss your hour rods. Your hour rods are abnormal, needle-shaped, or round pink to purple inclusions in the cytoplasm of myeloblast and promyelocytes. Okay, sa myeloblast po siya at promyelocytes nakikita. Okay? These are comprised of condensed primary granules and they indicate acute myeloid leukemia, AML po, associated ng hour rods. Okay? Next. Ay, nasabi ko na to. Largest cell in the bone marrow, sagot agad. Okay, this is the megakaryocyte. Okay, sayang ang 1 point. Huwag kayong magkakamali dyan. Alright, next. After the removal of the RBCs from circulation, hemoglobin is broken down into black. Actually, na-breakdown na natin kanina si hemoglobin. Ba't iba-iba yung sagot? Final answer, guys. Medyo, ngayon, ayan, may differences po na sa ano, sa sagot. So actually, ang sagot dito, letter A. Hindi iron and heme. Remember yung heme po, pag breakdown mo yan, makuha mo iron and protoporphyrin. So dapat iron plus protoporphyrin plus your globin. Kanya nga lang, yung globin nyo, pag breakdown yun, no, maging amino acid siya. Remember, ang globins po, proteins yan. Okay? So ang best answer dito is actually letter A. Okay? Maraming sumagot ng B. Siguro nag-hesitate sila na sumagot ng A kasi nakita nila amino acids. Okay? Clear tayo dito, guys. Yung iron plus protoporphyrin, yan po yung heme. Yung amino acids, yan naman yung precursors ng ating mga globin chains. Okay? Ito next time na to. Di natin na masyadong matagal to. Hindi discuss pa natin. Next question again, 13. The main function of the hexosmonophosphate shunt is in the erythrocyte is to block. A. Regulate the level of 2,3-DPG. B. Provide reduced glutathione to prevent hemoglobin oxidation. C. Prevent the reduction of heme iron. Or D. Produce energy for the membrane maintenance. Na kami nakita ko sumagot ng A. Anong pathway po ang gumagawa ng 2,3-DPG? Okay, ang gumagawa ng 2,3-DPG, it's the Leu-Behring-Rappaport pathway. Okay? Which is actually a diversion of the Embden-Meyerhof. No, pero pag narinig yung 2,3-DPG, basta tandaan nyo guys, Rappaport yan. Leu-Behring-Rappaport. Okay? Sa exos monophosphate naman, siya yung gumagawa ng NADPH. The exos monophosphate pathway creates your NADPH. And this NADPH is important in the production of your reduced glutathione. Okay? Now, para saan po ang reduced glutathione? Reduced glutathione is an antioxidant. Okay? As an antioxidant, anong lalabanan niya? Anong i-neutralize niya? Okay, very good. Ang nini-neutralize po ng antioxidants are free radicals. Free radicals, these free radicals can cause hemoglobin oxidation. Okay, so we have to neutralize them using your antioxidants, which includes your reduced glutathione. Okay, clear po ito? Follow-up question. What is the most common enzyme deficiency of the hexosmonophosphate pathway? Okay, very good. Ayan. So, ang pinaka-common po na deficiency ng hexose monophosphate pathway is your G6PD deficiency. Okay? What happens in G6PD deficiency? In G6PD deficiency, hindi mag-work yung hexose monophosphate pathway. So, ano mangyayari sa NADPH levels? Ang NADPH mo, deficient. Diba? Pag deficient ng NADPH, ano mangyayari sa glutathione levels? Glutathione would also be low. No? It would also be deficient. And pag wala yung glutathione, wala kang protection against your free radicals. Okay? Yung free radicals na yan, they can cause lysis of RBCs. Nakuha niyo, class? So ulit ha, pag may G6PD deficiency, hindi po enough yung glutathione. And of course, hindi rin enough yung antioxidant. And because of that, the free radicals become uncontrolled and they would cause lysis. Okay? Now you know no, kung paano nagkakaroon ng hemolysis sa G6PD deficiency. Now, hindi pa tayo tapos. Yung free radicals na yan, they can also denature hemoglobin. Okay? Pag na-denature ang hemoglobin, ano makita nyo na inclusion? Sabi na natin kanina. Okay, very good. You're going to see your Heinz bodies. So yung Heinz bodies, guys, tandaan nyo po, Heinz bodies associated with G6PD deficiency. Okay? Hindi pa tayo tapos. Yung RBC na may Heinz body, no, pag dumaan yan sa spleen, makikita ng mga macrophage, no, na meron siyang inclusion na hindi dapat. So ano gagawin ng macrophage? The macrophage would bite. Kakagatin niya yung RBC, no, para makuha niya po yung Heinz body. If this happens, what abnormal RBC would be seen? Okay, very good. Now, this is what we call the bite cell. Now, the bite cells are also associated with G6PD deficiency. Okay, very good. Ayan, galing ng mga participants natin. Ang bilis sumagot. Okay. Number 14. Sorry, ito pala yung ano natin, no? Hexose monophosphate pathway. Nasabi ko na ito kanina, no? It generates your NADPH. Alright, next, number 14. In the normal adult, the spleen acts as a site for blank. A. Storage of RBCs. B. Production of RBCs. C. Synthesis of erythropoietin. Or D. Removal of imperfect and aging cells. Yan, please type your answer in the chat box. Okay, isa-isay natin choices. Sino yung responsible for the production of RBCs? Definitely hindi yan spleen. Diba? It's the bone marrow. Particularly, what color? Is it red or yellow? Okay, it's the red marrow. Ah, yung letter C nyo, synthesis of erythropoietin, anong organ naman ang mainly responsible? Okay, so for erythropoietin, kidneys no, are mainly responsible for their synthesis. Okay? Yung removal ng imperfect and aging cells, this happens in the spleen. Okay? And this brings us to two associated processes. Now, these are what we call pitting and culling. Have you heard of these terms? Ano nangyari sa pitting? Ito actually yung dinidescribe ko kanina. No? Pag may RBC na may laman na Heinz body or any inclusion, pag dumaan yan sa spleen, kakagatin ng spleen, ng spleen, kakagatin ng macrophage, no? Yung RBC, para matagal yung inclusion. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng pitting. No? Pitting is removal of inclusions. Okay? Tandaan nyo, yung mga macrophage sa spleen, OC kasi ang mga yan, no? Ok-ok sila. No? Ayaw nila ng mga inclusion. Kaya tatanggalin nila yan through the process of pitting. Now, ano naman na nangyari sa culling? Ang culling nangyayari yan sa mga old RBCs, yung mga senescent RBCs nyo. Pag may old RBC na dumaan sa spleen, madedetect po ng macrophage yan. Sabi ng macrophage, uy, panahon mo na. Naka 120 days ka na. Okay? So anong gagawin ng macrophage? Yayakapin niya yung buong old na RBC. No, kakainin niya yung buong old RBC. And that is what we call the process of culling. Okay? So this is removal of old RBCs. Okay? Huwag niyo kalimutan to guys, no? You need to know the difference between pitting and culling. Okay? Moving on. Next, number 15. A patient is on 100 milligrams of aspirin per day to prevent the formation of clots caused by platelets. The mechanism by which aspirin impairs platelet function is by A. Inactivating cyclooxygenase, B. Impairing your VWF via GP1B9 5 receptor, C. Decrease amounts of arachidonic acid, or D. Inactivation of ADP and phospholipase A2. Okay, very good. Now everyone got this correctly. Now remember that aspirin inhibits the enzyme cyclooxygenase. Okay? Now part ng cyclooxygenase pathway, yung production ng thromboxane A2. Ano po yung dalawang effects ng thromboxane A2? Pinakalam po ba? Bigyan ko yung isa. Na thromboxane A2 causes? Ayan, very good. It causes vasoconstriction. Other than vasoconstriction, anong exact na platelet function? Uy, kakasabi ko vasoconstriction, no? May nagsagot ng vasodilation bigla. Vasoconstriction po siya. Aside from vasoconstriction, anong platelet function kaya ang inhibited? Or anong platelet function kaya ang stimulated by thromboxane A2? Ayun, very good, no? Thromboxane A2 causes platelet aggregation. Okay? So pag nag-take ka ng aspirin, ma-block ang cyclooxygenase. Pag na-block ang cyclooxygenase, wala kang thromboxane A2 production. Okay? So anong platelet function ang affected? It is your platelet aggregation. Okay? This is the reason why platelets, or rather patients taking aspirin cannot donate platelets. Okay? Again, patients taking aspirin cannot donate platelets kasi yung platelets na mabibigay nila hindi nag-aggregate. And syempre, kung walang aggregation, walang plug formation. Clear? Alright, so moving on. Ito yung ano nyo, cyclooxygenase pathways. So actually, may dalawa kayong cyclooxygenase. You have COX-1 and COX-2. Sa mga libro, may COX-3 pa and so on. Huwag nyo na isipin yun, guys. No? Basta COX-1 and COX-2. Si COX-1 or cyclooxygenase 1, siya actually yung nagpo-produce ng thromboxane A2. Okay? Which is of course important for platelet function. Si COX-2 naman, mainly, ang role niya is sa production ng prostaglandins. Yung mga prostaglandins na yan, they're responsible for fever, for the sensation of pain, etc. Okay? Now, pag nag-take ka ng painkiller, yung mga tinatawag nyo na NSAIDs, ang gusto mong ma-inhibit sana yung COX-2. Kasi pag na-inhibit yung COX-2, wala yung prostaglandin, wala yung pain, and wala din yung fever. 'Di ba? Nakuha nyo? COX-2 dapat kung painkiller ang tinitake mo. Yun nga lang kasi yung mga painkiller nyo, non-specific yung iba sa kanila. Aside from COX-2, they also inhibit COX-1. And as a result, pag na-inhibit ang COX-1, impaired yung platelet function. Okay? And not just that, yung COX-1 ninyo kasi, mahalaga din for gastric protection. Ito, nice to know na lang to ha. So pag nag-take ka ng non-specific na NSAID for a long time, nawawala din po yung gastric protection and you now become prone to ulcers. Okay? So hindi rin po maganda no, na naka-long term na painkillers, especially kung ang painkiller mo yung mga non-specific na NSAIDs. Okay? Yung mga specific na NSAIDs or rather selective na NSAIDs, ito yun no. Ang ini-inhibit lang nila is yung COX-2. Hindi na nila apektado yung COX-1. Maganda example dyan guys yung mga celecoxib. Okay? Yan, they're selective for COX-2. Okay. Next. Characteristic erythrocyte found in pernicious anemia. A. Microcytic, B. Spherocytic, C. Hypochromic, or D. Macrocytic. Okay. So ano bang problema sa pernicious anemia? Ang pernicious anemia po is an autoimmune process. Diba? Pag autoimmune yan, may antibody yan. May auto-antibody yan. Diba? Anong inaatake ng auto-antibody sa pernicious anemia? Baka may nakakalam po. Okay. So, one of these autoantibodies is your antiparietal cell. No? Inaatake niya yung parietal cell, which produces intrinsic factor. Okay? May autoantibody din na diretso na. No? Inaatake niya mismo yung intrinsic factor. Now, why is this important? Yung intrinsic factor niyo, mahalaga siya for vitamin B12 absorption. Okay? Kahit na lumaklak ka ng isang galon ng vitamin B12, kung wala kang intrinsic factor, hindi po ma-absorb si vitamin B12. Okay, ganun siya ka-important. Now, what if nasira yung parietal cell? Ano mangyari? Pag nasira ang parietal cell, walang intrinsic factor, therefore walang absorption ng vitamin B12. Di ba? Ayan, may nag-type sa chat box, no IF, no vitamin B12. As simple as that. Di ba? Now, kung may B12 deficiency ka, anong anemia ang magde-develop? Okay. So B12 deficiency is one of the causes of your megaloblastic anemia. The other one is folic acid deficiency. No, pareho sila nagkakos ng megaloblastic anemia. And remember, megaloblastic anemia, ang morphology ng RBC mo is macrocytic. Okay? Now let's not stop there. Di ba may megaloblastic? Meron ding non-megaloblastic. Di ba? Parehong macrocytes yun, parehong malaki yun. Ang tanong ko sa inyo, how would you differentiate megaloblastic from non-megaloblastic? Anong titingnan mo na feature? Okay, ang galing. Very good. Okay, you look at the shape of the macrocyte. You look at the shape of the macrocyte. Sa megaloblastic, ang macrocytes nyo, oval. Okay? Sa non-megaloblastic, yung macrocytes nyo, round. Yun yung easiest way to differentiate them. Aside of course from doing a history, di ba? Sa morphology, tingnan niyo yung shape. Okay? Next question. Hemolysis in PNH is A, temperature dependent, B, complement independent, C, antibody mediated, or D, caused by a red cell membrane defect. Please type your answer in the chat box. And pag umabot tayo ng number 20, no, we'll have our CR break. Okay, very good. Now, PNH is caused by an RBC membrane defect. Hindi siya temperature dependent. Ang temperature dependent, yung PCH a while ago. Yung paroxysmal cold hemoglobinuria. Okay? Is it complement independent? No. No, sa PNH po may involvement ang complement sa lysis. Ikikwento ko mamaya. Okay? Is it antibody mediated? No. Wala pong antibodies na involved. Ang sagot dito is letter D. Okay? So let's discuss PNH. Now in PNH, no, you have an acquired membrane defect in which the RBC membrane becomes increasingly sensitive to complement binding. No, mas sensitive yung RBC membrane to complement. Okay? All cells are abnormally sensitive to lysis by complement. Okay? For its diagnosis, you can use Ham's test. You can also use the sugar water test. But ang pinaka ginagamit na nowadays is flow cytometry. Ang ano dito guys, no, if you're going to do flow cytometry, flow cytometry for PNH, ang ide-detect nyo dapat is CD55 and CD59. Yung mga patients na may PNH, may absence po ng CD55 and CD59. Okay, double negative sila no, for CD55 and CD59. Okay? Ano ba significance ng dalawang proteins na to? Ano significance nila? Simple ako na lang guys. No, si CD55 at CD59, they both protect the RBC from complement. Okay? That's how the RBC no evades complement. No, it's through CD55 and CD59. Kumbaga sa estudyante, ito yung ID. 'Di ba bago kayo makapasok ng gate, dapat may ID kayo, 'di ba? Oh, dito po pag yung RBC mo walang CD55 and CD59, they would be lysed by complement. No, mapagkakamalan sila na hindi RBC. So they would be lysed by complement. Okay? So again, anong hinahanap po? Absence ng CD55 and CD59. That's PNH, paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. Okay, naintindihan guys? Why is it called nocturnal? Good question. Okay. Yung ano na kasi guys, yung complement ninyo at night, it becomes somehow more active. Bakit? Kasi at night, no, sa gabi po, yung blood natin, somehow it becomes a bit more acidic. Okay? And yung acidity na yan, somehow, it causes increased lysis by complement. Normally, kung may CD50 and CD59 ka, hindi yan noticeable. Pero kung wala po yan, no, sa gabi, no, pwedeng matrigger yung hemoglobinuria. Nagets nyo? Kaya siya nocturnal. Yan, it's because of the increased acidity at night, no, which somehow increases complement lysis. Lysis by complement. Okay, did I answer your question? May other questions po tayo? All right, moving on. A patient with polycythemia vera who is treated by phlebotomy is most likely to develop a deficiency of blank. A. Iron, B. Vitamin B12, C. Folic acid, or D. Erythropoietin. Are you familiar with polycythemia vera? Careful kayo, basahin niyo mabuti yung tanong. Kwento natin. Polycythemia vera. Na bakit siya tinawag na polycythemia? Poly means many. 'Di ba? Cyte means cell. So polycythemia vera, lahat ng blood cell lineages nyo, increase ng production. Nakuha? Mataas ang RBC, mataas ang platelet, mataas ang WBC. Lahat po sila mataas. Okay? Now, ang problema, pag sobrang taas ng RBC mo, no, sobrang taas ng hemoglobin mo, okay? Yung blood ng pasyente, it becomes viscous. Malapot. Okay? Literal na malapot. May pasyente ako na ganito, ang hemoglobin niya nasa 20. Di ba? Malapot talaga yung blood niyan. And pag malapot ang blood, this can lead to thrombosis. Pwede magka-clotting. Yung clots na yun can cause complications. Like for example, mini strokes. Okay? Or minsan, pagka nabara is yung blood vessel ng mata, pwede po mag-cause ng blindness yan. Di ba? So, how do you treat this? You do your phlebotomy. No? So yung pasyente, ibababa natin yung hemoglobin levels niya by doing phlebotomy. Okay? In some books, ang ina-advocate nila every other day. As in, aggressive yan guys. Every other day, magpe-phlebotomy hanggang bumaba siya to around the hemoglobin of 13. Ganun. Okay? Now, syempre, may yan yan, may consequence yan. No? If you do aggressive phlebotomy, paulit-ulit ka nagpe-phlebotomy, hindi lang blood yung nawawala sa pasyente. Ano pa yung nawawala? Ano pa yung nawawala? Try nyo, mag-blood donation kayo everyday. Anong mangyari sa inyo guys? Madedeplete yung iron. Okay? Magkaka-deficiency ka ng iron, not erythropoietin. Okay? Actually, sa polycythemia vera, ang erythropoietin ng pasyente, mababa. No? Okay? Pero hindi yun dahil sa phlebotomy. Mababa yung erythropoietin nila kasi mataas nga yung RBC count. No, it's not because of the phlebotomy. Okay? Yung directly caused by phlebotomy, yung deficiency ng iron. Okay? Na-clarify ko po ito. May mga sumagot kasi ng D ng erythropoietin. So anong primary treatment for polycythemia vera? You decrease the viscosity of blood by doing phlebotomy. So in this case, ang phlebotomy nyo, it becomes therapeutic. Now, may isa pang follow-up question. Ano yung molecular abnormality na usually associated with polycythemia vera? Ayun, very good. Ayun, nakita ko na yung hinahanap ko, yung kompleto. So for polycythemia vera, ang hinahanap natin is your JAK2. JAK2 V617F mutation. Okay? Yan yung pinaka-common na mutation leading to polycythemia vera. That's why, by the book, no, if you want to confirm polycythemia vera, you have to do your genetic testing. No, you have to look for the JAK2 mutation. Okay, ginagawa ba yan? Yes. No, ginagawa yan sa St. Luke's, guys. No, yung JAK2 mutation. Although of course, kasi ang problema dyan, sobrang mahal niya. So hindi lahat ng pasyente may PV nag-undergo ng JAK2 testing. Okay? Very good. I'm really happy no, na may mga nakakaalam po nito. Especially yung B617F. Yan, memorize nyo talaga siya. Okay? Number 19, the anemia of chronic inflammation is characterized by blank. A, decreased iron stores in the RES. B, decreased serum iron levels. C, macrocytic erythrocytes. Or D, increased serum iron binding capacity. Okay, please type your answer in the chat box. Huwag kayong mahiyang magsagot, guys. Hindi naman kayo graded dito. No? Wala naman tayong exam dito. Okay, kwento ko po yung anemia of chronic inflammation, ha? Look at the name, anemia of chronic inflammation. Ang ACI, it develops in patients with chronic inflammation. Okay? Pag may inflammation ka, tumataas yung mga acute phase reactants. Are you familiar with the acute phase reactants? Di ba pag sinabing acute phase reactants, mga serum proteins po yan, no, mga serum proteins po yan na tumataas during inflammation. Okay? One of these acute phase reactants is, nakita ko na, very good, hepcidin. Have you heard of the protein hepcidin? Oh, sorry. Medyo hirap ako magsulat sa ano ko, sa laptop. Are you familiar with hepcidin? Ano pong ginagawa ng hepcidin? Hepcidin, okay? Hepcidin prevents the release of iron. No, it prevents the release of iron from storage. So may iron ka, no? Actually madami kang iron, pero yung iron na yon ayaw palabasin ng bahay. Okay? Yun ang trabaho ni hepcidin, no? It would regulate the release of iron. So, i-trace back natin. May inflammation ka. Tataas ang hepcidin. Ano mangyari sa iron mo? The iron would be stuck in the storage and yung iron naman sa transport, ano mangyari? Babagsak. Okay? Hindi pwedeng letter A ang sagot dito. Tingnan niyo letter A, decrease iron star. Decrease iron star. Anong sabi natin? Increase actually yung iron storage. So letter A is incorrect. Okay? Yung letter B, decrease serum iron level. Is this correct? Yes. No, kasi nga lahat ng iron mo nasa storage. No, walang nagsa-circulate. No, decrease ng serum iron levels. Okay? Macrocytic ba yung erythrocytes? No. Anong morphology ng anemia of chronic inflammation? Okay, microcytic yan, ha? Kilala niyo ba kung sino yung mga microcytic? Na-discuss ko na yung macrocytic kanina eh. Di ba? Sa microcytic, tandaan niyo lang yung tails. Yan. Actually, maraming mnemonics dyan. Ako nung nagre-review ako, atis lang. Anemia of chronic inflammation, thalassemia, iron deficiency, and sideroblastic anemia. Yung iba tails kasi dinadagdag nila yung lead poisoning. Okay? Actually, may nakita pa ako mga ibang mnemonics, no? Pero yun yung mga mahalaga doon. Okay? So, lahat nun, microcytic. Okay? Increase serum iron binding capacity. No. Ang may increase serum iron binding capacity is IDA, iron deficiency. Okay? Sa anemia of chronic inflammation, dahil mataas ang serum iron, dahil mataas ang storage iron sa anemia of chronic inflammation, bumababa po ang TIBC. So it's the opposite. Okay? So ang sagot po dito is letter B. Okay? Naliwanag? May mnemonics ako dito, no? Para maalala niyo yung action ng hepcidin, no, tandaan niyo, ang sabi ni hepcidin, hep, hep, hep. Sabi ni hepcidin kay iron, hep, hep, hep. Bawal lumabas ng bahay. Okay? Sabi ni hepcidin kay iron, hep, hep, hep. So yung iron mo, nakulong lang sa storage. Okay? Hep, hep, hep. Sabi ni hepcidin. Okay? Number 20, factors commonly involved in causing anemia in patients with chronic renal disease include blank. A. Myrohypoplasia, B. Inadequate erythropoiesis, C. Vitamin B12 deficiency, or D. Increased erythropoietin production. Ano sagot dito, guys? Okay, very good. Ang sagot dito is letter B. No? There's inadequate erythropoiesis. Remember, ang erythropoietin nyo galing sa kidneys. So pag ang pasyente may CKD, no, chronic kidney disease, babagsak ang erythropoietin levels and there would now be inadequate erythropoiesis. Okay? You see this in patients who are undergoing dialysis. No, yung mga nagda-dialysis, completely nag-fail na ang kidneys niyan. So talagang wala na silang erythropoietin production. As a result, yung mga nagda-dialysis, no, usually weekly, binibigyan namin sila ng synthetic na erythropoietin. Ayan. Kasi nga, ang erythropoietin galing sa kidneys. Okay? Do you have questions so far? Okay, so let's continue. Number 21, which of the following characteristics are common in hereditary spherocytosis, hereditary lymphocytosis, hereditary stomatocytosis, and paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria? A, autosomal dominant inheritance. B, red cell membrane defects. C, positive direct antiglobulin test. Or D, measured platelet count. Try to answer in the chat box. And Doc, saan ang exact location ng face-to-face sa Cebu? Actually, we're still finalizing it, no? Mag-a-announce kami soon. Tsaka we will be in Cebu sa last week na October, last week ng September. May free lecture din po ako doon, no? So if you can join us, no, para ayun, ma-accommodate namin kayo. Okay, mag-announce na lang din ako, no? Yan, may free lecture po tayo sa Cebu. Yan, sinasabi ko na ngayon, guys. Ano sagot niyo dito? Okay, so they are all what? They're all red cell membrane defects. Okay? Ayan. Sa inheritance, most of these are autosomal recessive, pero merong acquired din, no? Yung PNH ninyo, as mentioned a while ago, acquired na defect yan. Letter C is incorrect. No? Hindi yung direct antiglobulin test, indication yun na meron kang antibody na nagkukos nung sakit, di ba? Wala pong antibody involvement in all of these conditions. No? Ang problema dito is more of intrinsic. It's an RBC membrane defect. Na letter B po yan. Okay, next. A patient is admitted with a history of chronic bleeding secondary to peptic ulcer. Hematology results reveal a severe microcytic hypochromic anemia. Iron studies are requested. Which result set would be expected in this case? Before you answer this, looking at the history, ano yung most likely na diagnosis niyo? Anong type ng anemia sa tingin niyo meron dito? Just by looking at the history. Wait lang. Pag-isipan niyo mabuti, guys. So, yung pasyente mo, nagbi-bleed daw, no? Kasi may ulcer siya. Okay? Bakit hindi ito anemia of chronic inflammation? Kasi wala namang inflammation, guys. 'Di ba? Yung ACI nyo, para magka-ACI, dapat may inflammation at the first place. Now, yung patient nyo has been bleeding for a long time. Okay? If you have been bleeding for a long time, you would lose iron. And eventually, this would lead to iron deficiency anemia. Okay? And anong morphology niya? Microcytic hypochromic. So that also increases the chance no, na IDA talaga to. Now, if this is IDA, ano ang serum iron nyo? High or low? Iron deficiency nga eh, di ba? So, ang serum iron mo, decreased. How about the TIBC? Di ba yung TIBC, storage iron muna. How about the storage iron? The storage iron would be decreased. No? As in wala kang iron deficiency talaga siya. Di ba? Now, dahil mababang iron, yung TIBC nyo, dahil mababang storage iron, yung TIBC nyo, tataas. Okay? So, anong sagot dito, guys? This is letter C. Okay? Careful kayo, ha? Marami sumagot na ACI. Okay? This is just IDA. Okay? Next. 23. Evidence indicates that the genetic defect in thalassemia usually results in black. So ano naman, no, ang problema sa thalassemia? A. Production of abnormal globin chains. B. A quantitative deficiency in RNA resulting in decreased globin chain production. C. Structural change in the heme portion of hemoglobin. Or D. An abnormality in the alpha or beta chain binding or affinity. Okay. Yung abnormal globin chains, no, makikita niyan sa mga hemoglobinopathies. Halimbawa, hemoglobin S, 'di ba? Sa sickle cell disease at sickle cell trait. Sa hemoglobin S, yung globin chain mo, particularly yung beta globin chain, meron siyang defect. Okay? Kaya siya naging hemoglobin S. Yun yung hemoglobinopathy. Okay? Sa thalassemia po, ang defect nyo is more of quantitative. Hindi siya dun sa yung hemoglobinopathy qualitative yun. Okay? Sa structure yun. Okay? Yung thalassemia, it's more of a quantitative defect. Ibig sabihin, kulang yung napoproduce na chains. Nakuha nyo? Yes, no, nagpo-produce ka ng globin, no? Although may mga cases na wala talaga, no? Kaya ang defect mo, quantitative. So ang sagot dito actually is letter B. Okay? Let me elaborate on this. Ayan. So let's discuss your thalassemias. Now, your thalassemias are a group of inherited disorders causing decreased rate of synthesis of a structurally normal globin chain. So yung structure mo normal. Nakuha? Ang problema, yung synthesis. No? Quantitative defect talaga siya. Okay? So this is characterized by microcytic hypochromic RBCs and target cells. Kung may tatanda kayo na poikilocyte sa thalassemia, tandaan yung target cells. Na madali namang tandaan yan. Thalassemia, remember, target cell. Now, thalassemia, target cell. Okay? Now, if ang kulang na globin is yung alpha, ang tawag mo doon, alpha thalassemia. Gets? On the other hand, kapag ang kulang is yung beta chain, ang tawag mo naman doon, beta thalassemia. Okay? Unahin natin yung beta thalassemia. So sa beta thalassemia, meron tayong tinatawag na major or homozygous or Cooley's anemia. Okay? Ano nangyari dito? Explain ko lang, class. Normally, you inherit two genes coding for the beta chain. Bakit dalawa? Kasi one from the mother, one from the father. Okay? So yung beta genes na yan, sila yung magkukos ng production ng beta chains. 'Di ba? Ano nangyari sa major beta thalassemia? Sa major beta thalassemia, parehong absent. No, parehong mutated yung beta genes mo. So kung walang beta gene, wala pong beta chain production. Totaling wala. Nakuha nyo, class? So 2 out of 2. As in wala kang normal na gene for the beta chain. So ito ang tanong ko ngayon sa inyo, ito yung tanong ko sa inyo ngayon. Kung wala kayong beta chain, can you produce hemoglobin A? Yes or no? Why not? Why not? Remember, si hemoglobin A, ayun, very good. Hemoglobin A is 2 alpha plus 2 beta. 'Di ba? So kung totally wala kang beta chain, totally wala ka ring hemoglobin A production. Gets? As a result, the body would try to compensate, and wala kang hemoglobin A production, the body would compensate by producing more of hemoglobin F. Can you produce hemoglobin F in this condition? Yes. Bakit? Ano ba composition ng hemoglobin F? Okay, very good. No, hemoglobin F is 2 alpha, 2 gamma. So pwedeng pwede, no? Kasi hindi naman niya kaya ng beta chain. Nagets sa class? So pag ginawa mo yung hemoglobin electrophoresis, makita mo na walang band sa hemoglobin A. Tapos yung hemoglobin F na band, makapal siya. So you know that that is your major beta thalassemia. Nagets nyo? Follow-up question. Can you produce hemoglobin A2? Yes. Bakit? Ano ba ang composition ng hemoglobin A2? Okay, very good. Hemoglobin A2 is 2 alpha, 2 delta. Kailangan ba ng beta? No. So pwedeng pwede. No, you can still produce your hemoglobin A2. Okay? Next. You also have your minor or heterozygous beta thalassemia. Pag sinabing minor or heterozygous, isa lang, no? 1 out of 2 lang yung mutated. So meron ka pa rin isang normal na gene. And dahil may isa kang normal na gene, you can still produce the beta chain although decreased yung kanyang amounts. Okay? So this time, guys, can you still produce hemoglobin A? Sa minor po, can you produce hemoglobin A? Yes or no? Okay, this time yes na po. 'Di ba? Kasi meron ka ng beta. And remember, hemoglobin A is 2 alpha, 2 beta. Pwedeng-pwede na siya. Okay? So makita ninyo na when you do your electrophoresis, hemoglobin A is just slightly decreased and yung hemoglobin A2 slightly increased naman siya to compensate. Okay? Ayan. Sa lab findings nyo, you have mild microcytic hypochromic anemia. Tapos sa poikilocytes, again, tandaan nyo yung target cells. Sa thalassemia, you can see your target cells. Alright. Now, let's talk about alpha thalassemia. So again, we see alpha thalassemia, yung alpha chain ang affected. Okay? Under alpha thalassemia, we have here your major alpha thalassemia or hydrops fetalis. Okay? Ano nangyari dito? Kwento ko lang guys. For the alpha chain, apat yung genes natin dapat. Apat dapat yung alpha genes mo. No, two from the mother, two from the father. So total of four. Nakuha? Apat yung genes for the alpha chain. Dapat. In the case of major alpha thalassemia, all of these genes are absent. And as in 4 out of 4. Lahat po sila mutated. So dahil lahat ng genes affected, totally walang alpha chain production. Nagets? So ang tanong ko sa inyo, can you produce hemoglobin A in this condition? Yes or no? Totally wala. No? Kasi ang hemoglobin A nyo, 2 alpha plus 2 beta, kailangan talaga ng alpha. Can you produce hemoglobin F? Can you produce hemoglobin F? Okay. Hemoglobin F is 2 alpha plus 2 gamma. So kailangan mo rin ng alpha. Definitely, you cannot produce hemoglobin F. Can you produce hemoglobin A2? Okay, ganun din. Wala din. Kasi ang hemoglobin A2 nyo, 2 alpha plus 2 delta. Lahat nung hemoglobin na yon hindi sila ma-produce. Okay? That's why this condition is incompatible with life. Oftentimes, yung baby pagkapanganak, stillborn na, or mabuhay yan for a few days and then mamamatay din. Na it is incompatible with life. Okay? Now, one characteristic is the presence of hemoglobin Barts. Okay, what is hemoglobin Barts? Hemoglobin Barts is hemoglobin with 4 gamma chains. Sinong naalala nyo na may gamma? Inuulit-ulit ko lang yung composition ng hemoglobin para makakabisado nyo. Sino yung naalala nyo na may na may gamma? Hemoglobin F, 'di ba? 2 alpha, 2 gamma 'yan, 'di ba? Eh ang problema wala kang alpha. 'Di ba? Yung mga babies niya dapat hemoglobin F, 'di ba? Eh wala kang alpha. So anong gagawin ng mga gamma? Yung mga gamma magkakatitigan yung mga 'yan, no? Oh, sabi niya, "O pre, sige tayo-tayo na lang." Sabi ng mga sabi ng mga gamma sa isa't isa. Oh, so ano mangyari? Yung mga apat na gamma mag-aggregate silang ganyan, mag-form sila ngayon ng hemoglobin Barts. Na-gets nyo? Okay? That's why you also call this Barts hydrops fetalis. Alright. Now, we also have your hemoglobin H disease. In hemoglobin H disease, 3 out of 4 are deleted. Okay? Ibig sabihin, may isa pang normal na alpha gene. Ibig sabihin din, meron kang small amount ng alpha chain production. So this time, can you produce your hemoglobin A? Okay, yes. Can you produce hemoglobin F? Yes, also. You can also produce hemoglobin A2. Okay? Pwede. So nabubuhay yung pasyente. Mabubuhay yung pasyente dito. Now, yung pasyente mabubuhay, tatanda yan. Tapos, pag tumanda ka, di ba, magkakaroon ng switch from hemoglobin F to hemoglobin A. Di ba? Ganun dapat pag normal. Ang problema sa hemoglobin A, it's 2 alpha, 2 beta. Magkakaroon ka ng excess na beta kasi kulang yung alpha. Anong gagawin ng mga excess na beta? Ayan, yung mga excess na beta mag-aggregate together, they would now form what we call hemoglobin H. No, kaya ang tawag sa kanya, hemoglobin H disease. Okay? O, wag pagbabalik ta rin ha. Si Bart's hemoglobin po yung 4 gamma. Okay? Si hemoglobin H naman siya yung 4 beta. Alright. And then you also have your minor. Okay? So sa minor naman or trait, 2 out of 2 are deleted. Ibig sabihin may dalawang normal. And dahil dalawa yung normal, somehow adequate na no, yung alpha chain production. Most of the time, these patients are asymptomatic and they are just discovered accidentally. Okay? Marami tayong ganito sa Pilipinas actually. So may mga pasyente, magpapa-CBC, magugulat sila, anemic sila. Wala silang symptoms, no? Anemic sila. Tapos ito try natin i-treat with iron. Na over time, dapat tataas sana hemoglobin, di ba? Pero hindi tumataas ang hemoglobin nila. Yun pala, thalassemia. Of course, to confirm this, you will have to do additional testing, no? Magpapa ano ka, electrophoresis or better genetic testing, no? Ayan. So this is usually asymptomatic. Okay, any questions so far? Tuloy natin. Number 24. Deficiency of this enzyme is associated with the moderate to severe hemolytic anemia after the patient is exposed to certain drugs and characterized by red cell inclusions formed by denatured hemoglobin. Nasagot na natin to kanina, guys. Sagot na agad, please. Okay, so this is G6PD deficiency. Anong pathway ulit kabilang ang G6PD? Okay, ha, tandaan nyo guys, ang G6PD is part of your hexose monophosphate pathway. Okay? Para lang may madagdag sa discussion kanina. Remember, G6PD is one of the disorders screened in your newborn screening. 'Di ba? Anong batas po 'yun? Napamenteklos tayo bigla. Anong batas po 'yun yung newborn screening niyo? Newborn Screening Act of 2004. Okay, very good. That's your RA 9288. And follow-up question, ilan yung original na sakit screened in RA 9288? Okay, marami sumagot ng 6, no? But mind you guys, 5 lang talaga siya. Originally, it was 5. Okay? Tapos, through an administrative order, dinagdag po ang MSUD, kaya siya naging 6. Okay? But originally, no, sa RA 9288, it was 5. Okay? Ayan, medtech loss na yun. Lumalayo na tayo. Next, number 25. Which of the following is the most characteristic finding in autoimmune hemolytic anemia? Anong pinaka-clue ninyo sa mga hema cases na autoimmune siya? Parang nasabi ko to kanina. Okay, it's the letter D, positive direct antiglobulin test. Okay? Usually pag may mga gumagawa ng questions, no, yung mga pa-exam, no, mga ganyan, para masabing autoimmune, no, sinisingit nila lagi yan, positive direct antiglobulin test. So hanapin niyo yan, guys. No, that's your clue that you're dealing with an autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Okay? Next, 26. Peripheral blood smears from patients with untreated pernicious anemia are characterized by blank. A. Pancytopenia and macrocytosis. B. Leukocytosis and erythrocytosis. C. Leukocytosis and ovelocytosis. Or D. Pancytopenia and microcytosis. Okay, sagutin na natin agad. This is letter A. Okay, so there's pancytopenia. Hindi lang po RBC ang affected. No? Lahat ng cell lineages po affected. And then if you look at the RBC, okay, if you look at the RBC, macrocytic sila. Kasi nga, may deficiency ka ng vitamin B12. 27. Megaloblastic asynchronous development in the bone marrow indicates which one of the following? A. Proliferation of erythrocyte precursor. B. Impaired synthesis of DNA. C. Inadequate production of erythropoietin. Or D. Deficiency of G6PD. Okay. So remember, yung megaloblastic nyo na anemia, ang nagkukos niyan, B12 or folic acid deficiency. Diba? Si B12 at folic acid, parehong kailangan po yan sa DNA synthesis. So ang pinaka-defect po dito is impaired synthesis of DNA. Now, ano ibig sabihin ng asynchronous? Ano ibig sabihin asynchronous development? Ano yung hindi nagsasabay? Ayun, very good. Ang hindi nagsasabay dito, yung nucleus at cytoplasm. Pag may deficiency ka or may impaired synthesis ka ng DNA, yung nucleus mo, mabagal ang maturation. Okay? Si cytoplasm, normal ang rate. So mangyayari dyan, si cytoplasm, syempre hindi naman pwedeng iwanan niya na yung nucleus, di ba? Ang mangyayari si cytoplasm, hintayin niyang mag-fully mature si nucleus. Okay? Now, sa kakahintayin ng cytoplasm, mag-accumulate siya na mag-accumulate na mag-accumulate ng hemoglobin. That's why, in megaloblastic anemia, malaki yung RBCs nyo. No? Kasi ang dami niyang time na mag-accumulate ng hemoglobin. Na-gets nyo? Okay? Yun ang ibig sabihin ng asynchronous, hindi nagsasabay yung nucleus at cytoplasm. 28. Laboratory findings in hereditary spherocytosis include the following. A. Decreased WBCs. B. Decreased RBC band 3 protein. C. Reticulocytopenia. Or D. Positive direct antiglobulin test. Okay? Yan, ang hereditary spherocytosis po, RBC membrane defect ito. Particularly it is caused by a deficiency in your RBC band 3 protein. Okay? So when you review yung mga RBC membrane defects, no, make sure you note kung ano yung particular na structure na affected. Okay? Hindi ko na isa-isa yun, guys. Sa assignment nyo na yun, please. Hanapin nyo sila hereditary erythrocytosis, etc. etc. Hanapin nyo yung specific na defect. 29, characteristic morphologic feature in lead poisoning. Ito pag nakita nyo to, dapat lead poisoning dapat ang nasa isip nyo agad. Okay, so for lead poisoning, please do not forget basophilic stippling, letter C. Okay, 29 is letter C. 30, WBC feature, most characteristic of pernicious anemia. Okay, so sa side naman ng mga WBCs, ang makikita nyo na finding is hypersegmentation. Okay, alright, 30C. 31, which parameter is most consistently abnormal in cases of hereditary spherocytosis? Grabe, ang bilis ng mga sagot ah. Okay. So hereditary spherocytosis causes an increase in the MCHC. So dyan yung makikita yung MCHC na greater than 37. Okay, sa spherocytosis lang. Kaya nga, pag greater than 37 ang MCHC, hindi nyo sasabihin na hyperchromic. You just say spherocytic yung RBCs nyo. Kasi yun lang naman ang magkakos ng MCHC na greater than 37. Okay? Yung other causes na puro technical errors na yun, no? Pero yung nag-isa mong pathologic na cause, no, hereditary spherocytosis. Okay, next, 32. Basic mechanism associated with the development of sideroblastic anemia. A, enzymatic defect in heme synthesis, causing iron accumulation. B, quantitative decrease in the production of hemoglobin. C, defective iron utilization. Or D, ineffective erythropoietin production, decreasing RBC response. Nasagot niyo dito, guys. Mag-eliminate tayo. Sino yung ineffective erythropoietin production? Decreasing RBC response. Actually, yung letter D, yan yung anemia of renal failure nyo. Diba? Nakwento ko yan kanina. Diba? Sa CKD, bumabagsak ang erythropoietin. Letter D yun. Yung defective iron utilization, ang maganda example niyan, yung ACI, anemia of chronic inflammation. May iron ka, pero hindi mo ma-utilize, hindi mo magamit. Diba? Yung letter B, quantitative decrease. Sino yan? Letter B, quantitative decrease in the production of globin. Sino po yan? Okay, very good. No? Huwag niyo kakalimutan na yan ang thalassemia. Sino ulit yung qualitative? Qualitative, ibig sabihin yung structure ang may problem. Yun, yung mga hemoglobinopathies nyo. No? Like yung mga sickle cell disease, etc. Okay? And that leaves us with letter A. Okay? Sa sideroblastic anemia, may enzymatic defect in heme synthesis. So, ang isa sa mga ano dito, in sideroblastic anemia, no, one of the enzymes affected is responsible for the incorporation of iron in your protoporphyrin. No? Para magawa kasing heme, guys, dun sa last step ng heme production, yung iron dapat ma-incorporate sa protoporphyrin. Ang gumagawa ng enzyme. Okay, sabihin ko na, yung enzyme po is ferrochelatase. Ferrochelatase. So yung enzyme na yun, it can be inhibited. And pag na-inhibit yun, hindi sila nagtatagpo. Anong mangyari? Wala kang heme production, wala ka rin hemoglobin production. Yung iron mo, mag-accumulate lang na mag-accumulate. Okay? Nakuha niyo, class? Makikita niyo rin ito dun sa mga blasts, yung mga immature na RBCs. Nakuha niyo? Makikita niyo sa loob nila, may mga siderotic granules. Ano bang composition ng siderotic granules? Iron. Pag may nakita ka na blast, na may siderotic granules sa loob, anong tawag mo doon? Sideroblast. Okay? O, yun lang yun, guys. Okay, 33. What is the specificity of cold agglutination? Cold agglutinin dapat to. Cold agglutinin disease. Letter A, anti-small I. Letter B, anti-H. Letter C, anti-PR. Or D, letter D, anti-capital I. Okay, so in most cases, your CAD, your cold agglutinin disease, has anti-capital I specificity. Okay? Ito yung follow-up question ko sa inyo. Anong sakit ang usually uh, nagpe-precede ng anti-capital I production? Ano nagti-trigger ng anti-capital I production? Okay, so it's infectious mononucleosis caused by your Mycoplasma pneumoniae. Okay, hindi lagi yan, no? Hindi porke nagkaroon ka ng IM, magkakaroon ka agad ng anti-capital I. No, it's just some cases. Now, kapag nagka-anti-capital I ka, doon nangyari yung cold agglutinin disease. Okay? Now, i-discuss na rin natin yung anti-small I. How about anti-small I? Ano nagtitrigger sa production ng anti-small I? Wait lang, yung sorry guys, yung anti-capital I, i-correct ko lang Mycoplasma pneumoniae siya, pero hindi pala siya hindi siya infectious mononucleosis, walking pneumonia siya. Yan, sorry for that. Walking pneumonia or primary atypical pneumonia. Nalito na lang din ako. May nakita kasi ako sa chat box na nagsabi na yan. Ulitin ko guys, anti-capital I, sulat ko na para dito tayo malito. Noong oras na rin kasi. So anti-capital I, ang associated dito Mycoplasma pneumoniae. Ang kinukos ng Mycoplasma pneumoniae is primary atypical pneumonia or yung tinatawag na walking pneumonia. Yung anti-small I, okay, ito yung EBV, Epstein-Barr virus. Dito po yung infectious mononucleosis. Yan, sorry for that, napagbaligtad ko. Okay? Now, dahil lagi ko itong napagbabaligtad, may mnemonics ako actually for this. Okay? How do I remember this? May ano ba kayo dito, palatandaan? Kita niyo naman, napagbaligtad ko siya, no? So, ganito ko lang siya tinatandaan. Si Mycoplasma pneumoniae, remember, bacteria yan. Di ba? Si Epstein-Barr virus naman, virus. Di ba? Anong mas malaki, guys? Bacteria or virus? Okay, mas malaki yung bacteria. So, doon yung sa bacteria ibigay yung anti-capital I. Nakuha nyo? Kay Mycoplasma pneumoniae po, yung anti-capital I. Yung sa virus, yung kay Epstein-Barr virus, ang associated is yung anti-small I. Okay? Moving on. Mula third year medtech ako, yun na yung palatandaan ko dyan. Kasi napagbabaligtad ko nga siya. Hanggang ngayon nga, napagbabaligtad ko eh. Okay, next, 34. Parang nasagot na natin to. In a patient with an increased RBC mass and erythropoietin level below reference range, which of the following criteria confirms the diagnosis of polycythemia vera? Na-mention ko na to kanina. Okay, so for PV, for polycythemia vera, usually the mutation is your JAK2 V617F mutation. Okay? Ito, nice to know lang to, no? I'm not expecting that you know this. Alam niyo ba kung bakit siya tinawag na V617F? Actually, lately ko lang din nalaman to, no? Nalaman ko na lang to nung sa ano na, sa masters ko na sa molecular medicine. Alam niyo ba bakit siya tinawag na V617F? Ang ano lang nito, class, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, ang affected po na amino acid is yung number 617. Normally, ang nasa number 617 is valine, kaya letter V. And ang pumapalit sa kanya si F, si phenylalanine. Kaya yun ang ibig sabihin ng V617F. Akala ko dati ano lang yan, no? Code lang or something. May ibig sabihin pala siya. Okay, nice to know na lang po yun, no? Or alam nyo na yan, no? Baka ko lang pala yung hindi nakakala. Nalaman ko na lang yan nung nag-masters ako. Okay, next, 35. You already know this. We have discussed this a while ago. Hemoglobin H disease results from blank. Okay, very good. Absence of 3 out of 4 alpha genes. Okay. Next, 36. How does the bone marrow respond to anemic stress? Haba ng choices. A. Expand production, release RBCs prematurely. B. Expand production, rush platelets into circulation. C. Diminish production, increase M to E ratio. Or D. Diminish production, M to E remains normal. Okay, very good. This is letter A. O, ang tanong ko sa inyo, anong particular hormone ang nagtitrigger ng bone marrow response nyo? Okay, very good. Of course, it would be your erythropoietin. Okay? So erythropoietin would expand your RBC production, and at the same time, it would cause the immature RBCs to be released earlier, especially yung mga reticulocytes nyo. Ang mga reticulocytes kasi, they have to spend around 1 to 2 days pa sa bone marrow. Okay? May time pa silang magstay doon. Now, pag tumaas ang erythropoietin mo, sisipain sila na mas maaga palabas. And that would now cause your retic count to increase. Okay? So, alam mo na pag tumaas ang retic count ng pasyente, alam mo na yung bone marrow gumagana. Alam mo na yung bone marrow nagre-respond siya. Nagets nyo? What if yung retic count mo, kahit na may anemia ka, yung retic count mo bababa pa rin? Ano ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin nun, yung bone marrow mo hindi gumagana. Si bone marrow may problema. Nakuha nyo? Production problem siya. Okay? 37, Philadelphia chromosome is formed by a translocation between. Okay. So this is translocation 922. Okay? Follow-up question. Pag nagkaroon ka ng translocation 922, ano yung particular na abnormal gene na napoproduce? Baka yun yung itanong sa inyo, guys. How about the others? Okay, very good. That's the BCR-ABL gene. Okay? Yung BCR at ABL, magkahiwalayan, no? Si ABL siya yung nasa chromosome 9. Okay. So nandito siya, guys. Si ABL nasa chromosome 9. Si BCR naman nasa chromosome 22. Ngayon pag nagkaroon ng translocation, yung dalawang separate genes na yan, they're brought together. Kaya nagkakaroon ng BCR-ABL gene. Okay? And this gene would produce an abnormal protein causing the abnormal proliferation of your WBC. Okay? So, nagkakaroon ngayon ng leukemia. Anong type ng leukemia? Okay, very good. So this is your CML. Huwag niyo kakalimutan, guys, ha, paboritong tinatanong to. Translocation 922, again, BCR-ABL gene. Anong associated na leukemia? It is your CML. Okay? May mnemonics ako dito. Actually, na-post ko to sa Twitter. Hindi ko lang alam kung nakita niyo pa. Turo ko lang, guys. Ang translocation niyo is 922. 'Di ba? Magdo-drawing ako. Huwag kayong kukurap, guys. 'Di ba ito yung 922? Kukonek ko to. Kukonek ko to. Tapos lagyan natin ng paa, lagyan natin ng paa. Sorry, kailangan ng imagination to, guys. Tapos lagyan natin ng mata dito. Ano hayop po ito? Yung may dalawang hump sa likod. Ang pangit ng drawing. Sorry. Okay. That's your camel. Diba? Camel. CML. Camel. Ayan, no? Diba? Lagyan mo na lang ng konting vowel yung CML. Magiging camel na. Yung 922, pag nakikita ko yan, mukha siyang camel. Yung ganun ko siya tinatandaan. Hindi pa ako tapos, guys. Alam niyo ba kung ano yung pangalan nung nakasakay sa camel? Ang cute daw na drawing ng bola pa kayo eh. Sulat ko lang to, guys. Alam niyo ba anong pangalan nung nakasakay sa camel? Ang pangalan nung nakasakay sa camel is Abel Abubakar. Okay? Si Abel Abubakar yung nakasakay dun sa camel. Hindi pa ako tapos. Saan sila papunta? Saan papunta si Abel Abubakar kasama ng camel niya? O ito, nakasama ko na yung si Sophie. Pwede rin Abdul. Sige, bahala. Abdul Abubakar. O, ABL-BCR. Saan sila papunta? Papunta sila ng Philadelphia. Para maalala niyo po na si chromosome 922, that's your Philadelphia chromosome. O, doon ka na, Sophie. Babay ka na, babay. Babay ka na. Uy, babay. Okay? Nakuha niyo mnemonics natin dito. Last na to guys. If you have the Philadelphia chromosome, better or worse ang prognosis? Uy, umiyak na. Sige. Babay na, babay, babay. Okay, very good. Now, if you're Philadelphia chromosome positive, better ang prognosis. The reason behind this is that yung gamot natin for CML, which is imatinib, huwag niyo na tandaan yung pangalan guys, nice to know na lang. So imatinib, ang ini-inhibit niya is yung product ng BCR-ABL gene. So specific yung action niya no, for the product of your Philadelphia chromosome. Kaya better yung prognosis. Ngayon, kung may CML ka, tapos negative ka for Philadelphia, mas mahirap yun no, kasi hindi gagana yung gamot. Okay, kailangan mo ng ibang therapy, ng ibang treatment. Okay? Sige na, tuloy na natin. Hinahanap na ako ni Sofia. Oras na ba? Kaya pala. May nagtanong pa sa chatbox, good prognosis po ba kapag may BCR-ABL? Yes po. Provided na syempre, makabili siya ng gamot. Okay? Yun. Kaya lang naging good prognosis kasi meron ng gamot specifically for the product of the BCR-ABL gene. Yan. Molecular level na discussion. Okay, 38. The mechanism causing catecholamine-induced neutrophilia includes blank. Are you aware of this? Nagkakaroon ng neutrophilia. Tumataas ang neutrophil because of catecholamines. Ito yung pathophysiology ng tinatawag natin na stress. Stress pseudoneutrophilia. Okay? Pag na-stress ka, tataas ang catecholamines mo. And yung catecholamines yun, magkakause sila ng shift from the marginating pool to the circulating pool. Okay? So, moral lesson dito guys, no, yung mga pasyente nyo, huwag nyo paiyakin, huwag nyo takutin. Kasi pag pinaiyak nyo yan or natakot na yan, magkakaroon ka na ng false increase sa WBCs. Okay? Or pag umiiyak na, no, halimbawa, nag-ward ka na, umiikot ka na sa mga room, no? Tapos nakita mo umiyak na yung pasyente, huwag niyo nang ipilit na kumuha ng dugo. No, bumalik na lang kayo pag kumalma na siya kasi magkakaroon ng effect yan sa mga test results niyo. Okay? Next, 39, what accounts for the frequent smudge cells in CLL? A, increased in vivo cell lysis. B, apoptosis-related changes. C, artifact due to fragile cells. Or D, artifact due to heparin. Okay, very good. This is letter C. Okay, artifact due to fragile cells. Yung smudge cells nyo, literal na na-smudge yan. Mga lymphocytes yan na na-smudge. Now, this happens because in CLL, the lymphocytes are fragile. No, marupok sila. Okay? So, pag nag-ano ka, PBS ka, literal na nasa smudge sila. Alright? Now, before we proceed, let's review. CLL, anong isipin nyo? Anong buzzword nyo for CLL? Smudge cells. No, huwag nyo kakalimutan yan, guys. Usually, pag tinatanong ang CLL, lagi may mention ng smudge cell. How about sa EML? Ano hinahanap nyo sa EML? Anong nasabi natin kanina? Okay, very good. Our rods. Okay. How about sa CML? Ano hahanapin nyo sa CML? Yung Philadelphia chromosome, no? Yung translocation 922. Okay? Kabisaduhin nyo din yung mga ibang translocation. Halimbawa, translocation 1517. May nakakaalam ba nun? 1517? Galing ah. M3, very good. Si acute promyelocytic leukemia. Siya yung associated with translocation 1517. Okay? That's M3. Ano pa ba? Translocation 1418. No? Yan, Burkitt's lymphoma naman. Yung mga ganun guys, no? Yan, natatanong sila. Although, syempre, yung mga pinaka tinatanong dyan, yung mga common, no? Sina 922, 1517, etc. Okay, ito pa yung smudge cell nyo. Yan, literal na smudge. Kasi fragile. Okay? Next time, pag may kaibigan kayo na marupok, no? Ibig sabihin mong, friend, ang rupok mo naman. Sabi mo, friend, smudge cell ka ba? No, bakit? Kasi marupok ka, fragile ka. Okay? Next. Ay, ito na rin to eh. Our odds, most likely seen in letter D. Okay, acute myelocytic leukemia. 41. Reactive lymphocytes seen in the peripheral blood smear of patients with infectious mononucleosis is probably derived from which of these cell types? Please type your answer. Ano nagkakos ulit ng infectious mononucleosis? Epstein-Barr virus. Ano ang receptor ng Epstein-Barr virus? May nakabasa na ba nun? Anong receptor ng Epstein-Barr virus? Di ba CD21 yun? Nasaan ang CD21? Ang CD21 found on B cells. So anong inatake ng Epstein-Barr virus? B cells. So anong sagot guys? Ang sagot po is letter A. Gulat kayo, no? Bakit? Guys, B lymphocyte na yung inaatake. Sinisira na nga yung lymphocyte eh. Sinisira na yung B lymphocytes. 'Di ba? So sino magre-react? Ang magre-react against that, yung T lymphocytes, sila yung magta-transform to become your reactive lymphocytes. Okay? Nakuha nyo class? Common mistake ng students to eh. B lymphocytes yung inaatake. Ang magre-react or yung magiging reactive lymphocyte, T lymphocytes po. Okay? I hope wala ring sasagot ng monocytes. Hindi porke mononucleosis monocytes, mali po yan. Okay? 42. A diff count of 50 to 90% myeloblasts in a peripheral blood smear is typical of which of the following? Actually, even without looking at the choices, no, dapat masagot nyo to. Ganito lang yan, class. Yung blasts nyo, anong lineage? Ayan, no? Myeloid. So is this myeloid or lymphoid leukemia? Myeloid leukemia yan. Diba? Ang next na lang na tanong, acute ba or chronic? Anong basis mo? Ang basis mo naman yung number. Pag sobrang dami ng blast, sobrang dami ng immature, is that acute or chronic? Okay, pag sobrang dami, no, pag more than 30%, that is classified as acute. So you now put the terms together, what do you have? Acute myeloid leukemia or acute myelocytic leukemia. Okay, 42 is dog. Nakuha niyo class? Now, if you want to classify kung anong specific na AML yan, identify mo ngayon kung anong lineage ba yung myeloblast mo. 'Di ba? So monocytic ba yan, granulocytic, is it erythrocytic or megakaryocytic? Na para ma-classify mo siya exactly kung ano ba type ng AML. Okay, so this is your leukemia classification systems. We have here the FAB and the WHO classification. Yung FAB classification po is just based on cellular morphology and cytochemical staining. Yan lang po ang basis niya. Kaya nga mas madali siya. Diba? Mas ito yung ginagamit natin. It defines acute leukemia as more than 30% bone marrow blasts. Okay? For the WHO classification, aside from cellular morphology and cytochemical staining, and aside from these two, ang dami pa pong additional. Kaya nga ang hirap niyang aralin. No, you have to do your immunologic probes, cytogenetics, molecular abnormalities, and clinical syndrome. Lahat po niyan ang basis ng WHO classification. Another difference is that in the WHO classification, acute leukemia is defined as more than 20% bone marrow blasts. Okay? Yung mga hematologists natin, ito yung gamit nila. No, but for the sake of our discussion, no, para sa medtech level po, okay na yung FAB. And wag niyo nang pangarapin na kabisado itong WHO. Kasi personally guys, ako na mismo, hindi ko kabisado yan. Ang hirap niyang aralin. Okay? Okay na yung FAB for the board exam. 43. Alam niyo na yung sagot dito? Associated with chronic myelogenous leukemia? Sagot na agad, please. Okay, this is your BCR-ABL gene. Okay. 44. Acute erythroid leukemia is characterized by the presence of each of the following. So sinabi niya erythroid. 'Di ba? So may involvement ka ng erythroid lineage. Ang hinahanap niyo dyan, mga erythroblasts. Okay? Tapos sabi niya acute. 'Di ba? So, dapat more than 30%. Ano sagot? Letter C. Nagets nyo na? Madali na lang po ito. Kaya na to, guys. Sinong ano dito? Sino magko-compre ng Hima soon? Dapat makuha nyo to, guys, sa mga exam nyo. Okay? 45, all stages of neutrophils are most likely to be seen in the peripheral blood in a patient with blank. A. Chronic myelocytic leukemia. B. Myelofibrosis with myeloid metaplasia. C. Erythroleukemia. Or D. Acute myelocytic leukemia. Yan. So lahat daw ng stages, yung mga mature plus yung mga immature. So is this acute or chronic? Yan. Pag may nakikita ko kayo mga mature, na most likely this is chronic. Nang pag puro immature na, puro blast na, yun yung acute. Okay? 46, increased levels of TDT. TDT is your terminal deoxyribonucleotidase. TDT, activity, ayan, acute lymphocytic leukemia. Ang TDT ninyo, stain yan for the lymphoid lineage. So pag nag-positive siya, yung mga blast nyo, alam yung lymphoid lineage. Okay? 47, which of the following is true for acute lymphoblastic leukemia? A, occurs most commonly in children 1 to 2 years age. B, patient is asymptomatic. C, primitive lymphoid appearing cells accumulate in the bone marrow. Or D, children under 1 year of age have a good prognosis. Actually, letter ano to? A dapat yan. Most commonly in children 1 to 2 years of age. Okay, sa mga bata po. No, ang ELL po yung pinaka-common sa mga bata. Although itong letter C, bakit mali ito? Parang tama din dapat eh. Dapat yata dalawa yung sagot dito, A or C. Okay, check ko na lang to, guys. Pero tandaan nyo guys, ELL po yung mas common sa bata. Okay? Ito yung classification niya ng ELL. So the FAB classifies ELL as L1, L2, and L3. Ang basis lang po dito is morphology. Sa L1, you have small cells predominating and ang chromatin nila is homogeneous. Sa L2 naman, large, tapos heterogeneous yung chromatin. And then si L3 or yung Burkitt's type, siya yung large ang cells, tapos homogeneous ang chromatin. And hindi po ba dapat sa peripheral blood? Oo nga, yun yung iniisip ko eh. Okay? Although kasi sa mga leukemia, usually pag may involvement ng peripheral blood, dapat meron din sa bone marrow. So, check ko na lang to guys. Yan, mukhang A yung sagot dito dapat sa 47. Picturean ko na lang. Do-double check ko. I-post ko na lang to mamaya. Eight, most common form of childhood leukemia. Kakasabi lang natin, this is letter A, acute lymphocytic leukemia. Okay? 49. Ito, usually associated with hairy cell leukemia. Naku, ito pag nakita nyo, dapat alam nyo na. Hairy cell. Bakit sila tinawag na hairy cell? Okay, tinawag sila na hairy cell kasi they have ruffled edges. Okay? Literal na mukha silang hairy. So, ang sagot dito is letter B. Ang follow-up question ko guys, anong stain ang gamit for hairy cell leukemia? Okay, huwag kakalimutan ha. Pag nakita niyo pong hairy cell leukemia, dapat magpa-pop sa utak niyo agad ang trap stain. Okay, for hairy cell leukemia, you use your trap stain. Okay? 50, morphologic variants of plasma cells include blank. I think this is our last question for tonight. Okay? Yeah, so this is your flame cell. Now, flame cells are morphologic variants of plasma cells. Ito yung picture. Yeah, so flame cells have a pinkish rim around their cytoplasm and they have cytoplasmic projections that stain carmine red. And tingnan yung picture, guys. Pag nakikita ko to, may naalala ako na Pokemon. Gusto pa ba yung Pokemon sa inyo? Sinong Pokemon na to? Ayun, si Ghastly. Si Ghastly yung naalala ko. Ganun yung itsura niya. Di ba? Tama ba ako? Or ako lang nakaka-imagine ito? Yan. So yan yung flame cell. Ang flame cell niya po, associated yan with your immunoglobulin A myelomas. Okay? Dito, Sa bagay, no? Pero kasi si dito, pure na pink lang yun, eh, di ba? Nabutan niyo pa pala yung mga Pokemon na yun. Yun yung mga OG na Pokemon, eh. Sina Gastly, sina dito. Ayan, so, tandaan nyo guys, ang flame cells nyo, more of myelomas po yan. Okay, particularly immunoglobulin A, myelomas. Okay? So, yun na muna for tonight, guys. Did you learn something in our discussion?